Hello, friends. Good morning. This is Thelma Nora again. Thanks for joining my blog once again. So this morning, we'll be talking about something that I've been thinking about for quite a while, and it's a question that was asked to me a while back. And the question was, "Are you rich or are you poor?" I know, right? So yeah, the question was, are you rich or are you poor? It took me a minute to figure out how to answer that question because I can't say that I'm poor, but at the same time, I wasn't thinking in terms of me being rich because I was thinking the first thing that popped into my mind, which is probably the first thing that pops into anybody's mind when they're asked that question, is how much do you have in your bank account, or how much is your net worth, or how much money do you have in your savings, or just how much money do you have, period. And um, and then after answering that question, the person who was asking that question said something to me that made me really think about it deeply. He said, so if you think that you're not rich but you're not poor based on how much you have in your bank account, um, have you considered whether or not what you have in your bank account could mean wealth for somebody else in, let's say, a third world country, or somebody with no income. Let's even begin there. Somebody with no income, period. And so it got me to thinking, I thought about, at what point do you actually determine whether you're rich or you're poor? Because the truth is, we don't want to set the standard for our wealth based on just how much you have money wise, because when you think about it, people like, I don't know, Donald Trump or Oprah Winfrey, people who have made a lot of money in their lives. When you think about it, at what point do you think those people became rich? And I started to think about that. And after thinking about that for a while, it occurred to me that their wealth, or their status of being wealthy or rich, did not come from the first $1 million that they earned per se, or how much they have right now in their bank account. When you think about it, people who are considered by society to be wealthy, to be rich, the Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, the Steve Jobs, Oprah, like I said, all of these people um, did not become rich by just earning a certain amount of money. In my opinion, their wealth began in their mind. The point at which they tapped into their potential and figured out what it was, whatever it was, the idea, or it could have been the desire to be somebody. It could have been the idea of, oh, I know this, I'm going to translate what I know into something that's going to produce cash. The point at which they keyed into their potential, the point at which they, realized their potential and then began to place a value on it, that's when their wealth actually became, and that's when their wealth actually occurred before it materialized physically into cash. And so I remember reading a book some years ago that talked about the richest place in the world being the graveyard. And that was a very mind-blowing statement for me, and it went on to explain that the reason why the graveyard is the richest place in the world is because that is where a lot of potentials go. A lot of potentials, that were never harnessed are buried, so you have a lot of people that went through life and never really harnessed their potential, and all that potential is now buried somewhere, and we can't harness it. Meanwhile, we have life, we have breath, we have a sane mind, and we're so busy allowing ourselves to get distracted by all the things that are around us, television, sleep, hanging out with friends, partying, having a good time. All of those things are good, but when they become a distraction, what you're doing is you're burying your wealth underneath all that garbage. So I'm here today to tell you, the best way to answer that question, are you rich or are you poor, is to ask yourself, how much of your potential have you clicked into? How much of your potential have you tapped into? How much of your potential are you aware of at this moment in your life? And when you realize how much, when you answer that question and then you put a value to your potential and begin to do something valuable with it, that's when you will key into your wealth. When the money starts to come somewhere down the line, you may become rich at that point, and everybody will look at you and say, hey, this person is rich because this person has this amount of money, this person can afford to buy this houses, this person can afford this luxury. But what they won't know, or what nobody really stops to think about, is at what point did you become rich? And I'm here to tell you that the point at which you tap into your potential, that, my friend, is when you become rich. I read a book some time ago by John Maxwell, and his definition of success is discovering your potential and maximizing that potential, and then using it to benefit the lives of other people. And I kind of like that success, that definition of success, because it tells you that your success begins with you first realizing what your potential is. And until you get rid of all that garbage, all that distraction, all those things around you that's distracting you from sitting down to actually recognize what your potential is, until you get rid of that garbage, you will continue to think in terms of, you won't be able to answer the question whether or not you're rich or you're poor. And everybody, in my opinion, is rich, but you won't realize that wealth until you tap into your potential. So I encourage you, take a day off, take some time off, go into your quiet, still moment and think about it. If you believe in prayers, pray about it, but just think about it, take some time and think about it. Are you rich or are you poor? And you cannot answer that question until you can answer the question until you can figure out how much potential you have and what your potential is. Stay blessed, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.